A disturbing story out of San Diego. ICE officers arresting a 3-time deported, convicted pedophile who was found living in an at-home daycare run by his wife. The suspect, a Mexican national and confirmed gang member, has a lengthy rap sheet with convictions for sex offenses involving a child under 14, sexual battery, illegal possession of a firearm, driving under the influence, and robbery. One ICE official says cases like these are why their job is so important.
This case highlights exactly why ICE is conducting enforcement operations in San Diego. To remove dangerous criminals who threaten our communities, our children, and put public safety at risk.
Despite ICE agents nabbing that convicted pedophile and gang member, Democratic Connecticut Congressman John Larson had this to say about our federal law enforcement.
This is not Germany. That's the SS and the Gestapo. This is the United States of America.
Border Czar Tom Homan does not understand why the Democrats are opposing these types of operations.
It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like I just said, we took guns off the street that were fully automatic in the city of Chicago. That's a solution. We took child sexual predators, people who committed sexual crimes against children off the streets of Chicago. That's a solution. Every day, ICE is taking thousands of criminals off the street of this country, including Chicago. We have a big operation up there that's continuing, and it's about to get a lot bigger. If you don't want to help, get out of the way, we'll do it.
Guys, starting with you, it is astounding the numbers of just sex offenders that have been taken into custody by ICE in the recent months. But your thoughts, and also on the Democratic pushback that continues these Nazi comparisons when it comes to our ICE officials.
I don't know if Congressman John Larson has grandkids, but if he does, would he volunteer to send them to a daycare center where a convicted pedophile, gang member, illegal immigrant was living? I don't think he would. Unless I'm wrong, I would like to hear him explain why it is that he would compare the officers whose job it is to remove that person from our country, that type of person from our country, why he would compare them to Nazis. Is that task that they're performing not valid? Is it not righteous? Is it something that he opposes, truly? And if not, I'd like to hear him explain himself a little further, because that unhinged rant, I think, is really sickening. And I think it's all political performance. And he understands in his heart of hearts, he would never want anyone in his family subjected to the danger represented by someone like that.
Well, when you raise this point about political performance, I can't help but wonder the same thing, because a number of Democrats have made similar comparisons. Just Tim Walz smearing ICE agents as modern-day Gestapo. So it's not an unusual tactic. Emily.
But that doesn't dilute how sickening it is. Guy and I just got back from touring Poland, where we went to the Holocaust atrocity sites, and to hear the cavalier nature with which these Democrat elected officials throw around Holocaust terms is so patently offensive and has zero place in our society, let alone when they are using those words as synonymous with our law enforcement. And your answer was so well taken. I mean, I'm not quite sure why the Ted Kennedy lookalike from Connecticut thinks it's okay to not see the value in removing pedophiles from daycares. And everyone sort of perverting the conversation into one of racism and one of color has absolutely then no idea who the primary victims are of all of these crimes, which are usually women and women of color. So where are all of those voices that we have been hearing so loud over these last few years that seem to not be pulling for these people that need protection, and that so easily could be if people would just get on board with law enforcement?
Yeah, and it's stunning that in these recent months that we've seen this job of finding convicted sex offenders with long rap sheets and bringing them into custody, that it has fallen to ICE on the federal level to do this all across America, but also in sanctuary cities, Tiffany.
I mean, this just makes my blood boil. This should not happen in our country at all. We should be protecting our innocent, our children. You think of single mothers who are taking their children to these daycares and struggling and fighting. This is the last thing that they should ever have to worry about. But I guess it causes me to pause and ask, is this who the Democrats are defending when they say that they do not want ICE in our cities?
Yes.
I mean, they have a real problem on their hands. Again, back to sort of what we were talking about in our last segment, is they better get on the side of Americans. They would rather defend criminals than victims. And that just simply doesn't make any sense. And then you look at the dangerous rhetoric, the continued dangerous rhetoric from Tim Walz and now John Larson. It's spurring violence against our ICE agents. Violence against ICE agents, attacks against ICE agents is up 830%. I mean, that is crazy. And we hear Tom Homan, all he's talking about is solutions. ICE agents are the heroes in our country right now, and they need all the support and backing they can get to protect our children, our most innocent.
And Tom Homan has made the argument that because of the lack of cooperation, his agency has little choice but to go into these sanctuary cities to find these individuals.
Right. What I love about the Trump administration and Tom Homan, among many things, is that they're not deterred by the crowing of some of these Democrats and even some of the public backlash that I think is actually the very loud minority of people who don't want ICE in their communities or don't appreciate these operations. The administration is not listening to those folks. They're continuing on with the mission, and in fact, they're tripling down. Tom Homan says it often. You don't want to work with us? Well, we're going to flood the zone. You want to be a sanctuary state? Okay, you don't want to cooperate? We're going to send in a couple hundred more. And I love that about their resolve, especially in Trump administration 2.0, that all of these sob stories, they're not working this time. The American people will be put first, and there will be nothing that gets in the way of that. And I give them a lot of credit for going against all of these attempts at sob stories that we hear that often exclude a lot of the information, by the way, when they talk about the Maryland father or the such and such makeup artist from here, and then you see the backstory. It's like, okay. So I love the fact that they're standing firmly on this.
And one of the reasons that ICE is so very busy is because of the astounding numbers, the open border policies that we've seen in recent years, Emily.
Yeah, and the statistics, Barrett, so as we talk about, for example, this individual who had been deported multiple times, yet somehow was still here, under the prior administration, we had record highs of illegal immigrants here. We know this, 14 million, but also a record high were those having some sort of protection under that administration, preventing deportation. And that number is 6 million, I want to say. Yeah, 6 million of them had some type of legal protection. So no wonder we are trying desperately to clean house, and how that big job that Tom Homan has. And I believe we have these statistics. We can put them on the screen for you all. But to see the numbers are so staggering, so staggering. 14 million illegal immigrants under the Biden administration, 6 million enjoying that deportation protection. And you mentioned specifically the sex offender sort of group within that. I mean, I know that a lot of people on the left deny it, but you have to wonder, with that such a very high concentration, I am sure there was a deliberate strategy to eject the worst of the worst of other societies onto ours, and now we are left cleaning up the mess.
And also this significant effort to tackle the gang problem and the cartel problem has all been a part of ICE's strategy and efforts in recent months.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.